Hey everybody, welcome back to Ogre Speed Shop. So we're gonna do something a little different in this video here. I had a friend of a friend, his name's Elvis, and if you want to check him out, go check out ET Performance on YouTube. And he asked me if I could do a video on a kind of a history and what's all been done to the 69 Firebird. So we're gonna go into that and basically talk about how I got it, you know, what I've done to it, and how it got to the point it is now. So let's go ahead and get into it. So a lot of this is just going to be talking about the 69 Firebird, how I came about getting it, what led up to me getting it. And I had a 1993 Trans Am Firebird that I had for 16 years. It was pushing close to like 450 horsepower. Just a mild cam, it wasn't huge, it was a hot cam, I think. Still the original, I had an LT1 in it with a 6-speed. And I love that car. Unfortunately, this is what happened to it. And this here is what happened to me, unfortunately. And that there was 5 broken ribs in the front, 3 broken ribs in the back, broken collarbone, concussion. I gashed my head on the C-pillar here, the roof here. And so, yeah, it was a bad accident. Lost control. This is one of the things that I'm going to preach right here, because make sure you have good tires on your car, because it wasn't even slippery or wet or nothing. And I was going around a corner going a little too fast, and I felt the wheels give out, and I was going right towards the car on the other side of the road. So I whipped it the opposite direction and spun it around. I don't remember hitting the building, but I hit a building, the corner of a building, and it hit, like, you know, basically right there all the way down my side. And luckily 2 inches forward, and there's no way I would have come out of that accident alive. But anyways, so wrecked my 93, and yeah, that was something, that was the end of an era, because I had that car, like I said, for 16 years, and I'd done so much to it, and over the years I fixed it up, made it fast, made it fun, and in a second it was gone, all because of tires. So check your tires. But anyways, so how did I get the Firebird, the 69? Well, my Snap-on guy, he was in one day, and when I worked at the shop at Current Auto Performance there in El Cajon and California. I'm in Oklahoma now, by the way, but we'll get to that. But anyways, so Snap-on guy stops in, he's talking about picking up a project, and he's an off-road guy more or less, and he likes Jeeps, and he's talking about getting a Jeep, like an older Jeep or a Chevelle. And while he was talking about it, he threw in a 69 Firebird. I'm like, 69 Firebird? I'm like, are you planning on, is that something that you're actually interested in? He's like, no, that's not really something I'd be interested in. So, well, where's it at? He's like, it's right across the street. It was literally at a body shop across the street from the shop I worked at. So, talked to my Snap-on guy. He gave me the guy's information. Called him up, went over and talked to him. We ended up striking a deal. So this is the way I brought it home. And from that point, we're going to get into what I've done. Basically, I'm going to do a walk around from the front to the back and tell you everything I've done to it. So let's go ahead and do it. After I got her home, I was hoping to get the engine running. It had the original Pontiac 350, numbers matching 350 in it, and had a 3-speed manual transmission in it. And I hoped to get it running, and I tried turning it over, and it would not budge. So I pulled it all out, pulled it apart, took it down to nothing, and number 3 cylinder had a big hole in it. Like, it was rusted through to a point where it was useless. It was a boat anchor. So then I'm like, well, I might as well tear the whole thing down. And this is where I tore it down too. So at that point, I replaced the cowl panel, the dash panel, and both floor pans. I just did 2 pieces. I didn't do a full floor pan because the tunnel was fine and the rear seats platforms were fine. So that's what I did there. So the major damage to the car was actually this quarter panel, as you can see here. So with that panel being that banged up, I knew it had to be completely replaced. There's no way of banging it out or fixing it. So got to doing some crunching some numbers, and there's just no way I could pull it off at that time. So thinking to myself, I just want to drive this thing. I don't care if it has a big old dent in the quarter panel. As long as the lights work, it can be street legal, and I can drive it around. So that's what I did. I started putting it back together. One of the great things about working at a performance shop and a hot rod shop is you get a lot of hand-me-downs. And we had a customer, his name was Fred, he had a 69 Camaro, and he had a complete subframe assembly that had the bare big brake kit on it, Global West upper control arms tubular, and Hotchkiss sway bar and Hotchkiss lowering, or Hotchkiss, yeah, they were Hotchkiss lowering springs for a big block though. I'll talk more about that here in a second. And he had gone Detroit Speed, so he had the stuff laying around for a couple of years, and people had offered him, you know, pennies, but we were good friends, and he offered it to me. So I went over there, I gave him a $100 down payment, and he never gave me a full price for it. About a year later, he just said, yeah, I'm happy you're using it, and we're straight, so don't worry about it. So basically got all that stuff for $100. So that's where the suspension came from. So one thing I definitely discovered with that suspension was big block springs are way too heavy for a Pontiac 400. I hadn't got the motor yet, but I'll get more into that here in a second. But later on, after I had it all back together, I ended up going with some, I think there are 2-inch drop springs for a 67 Camaro with the small block. And it set the ride height basically perfect in my mind, just the way I like it. So that worked out good for that way. So with that awesome gift from a friend, that completed the front suspension for me. So I had the bare big brake kit, the Global West uppers, the Hotchkiss sway bar, Hotchkiss springs, KYB shocks, which aren't the greatest, but hey, they work. For the lower control arms, I just got some Delone bushings from Global West and installed those in the stock lower control arms. And then replacing the big block springs with the small block springs. So that completed the front suspension for me. As far as the engine goes, because I still didn't have an engine for it, I had the suspension ready to go, but nothing to actually power the car with. So I started checking out Facebook Marketplace. And the timing must have been perfect because I found somebody selling a 68 Pontiac 400 out of a 68 GTO. And got a real good deal on this, I think so. I got the motor and transmission for $1,000 or $1,100. I originally was buying the motor, but he threw in the transmission as a turbo 400 transmission for an extra $100. So I brought all that stuff home. So the day that I went to pick up the motor, the engine, if you want to call it that, it was about 2 hours away, and I left at 6 o'clock in the morning. Me and my son headed north, went to go pick it up. We got there around 8 o'clock. We pulled the motor out of the chassis of the GTO. Actually, I think the body was still on it. Yeah, the body was still on it. So we pulled the motor and transmission out of the GTO around 8 o'clock. Made it home by 10. And by noon, we were doing this. At that point, we had a good running motor, and at the same point, I was trying to determine what transmission I wanted to use in it. And I had choices. I had the Turbo 400 that came with it, and I really didn't want to run an automatic. I had the original 3-speed that came in it, and I guess I could have used that. It would have worked all right, but I really didn't want to use that either. I had a 4-speed that was a takeout from a customer's car. I had a 6-speed, which needed to be reassembled and repaired. And it was way too much for that. So it would have cost about $2,500 to get that back on the road. Then I got lucky. So one of our other customers, he decided to switch over to a Magnum T56. and his I can't remember what year, but it's a second generation Camaro. So what did I get out of the deal? That's right, I got me a TKO, a Tremec TKO 5-speed, and my buddy who owned the shop, he bought it, and he extended the deal to me for the same price he paid for it. So that's the engine, or that's the engine and transmission combo I ended up getting put in the car. This is a few weeks after the initial startup. All right, so we got the motor transmission in the car now. So what's left to do? Let's take it for a test drive. This is the first drive of the Firebird after I got it. Now keep in mind, this is probably 2 to 3 years after I picked the car up. So I've been working on it for a while.
Yeah.
All right, this is the first time I'm gonna drive this thing. I'll get a video of it. Maiden voyage. So after finally getting it back together to the point where I could drive it out of the garage like that, I just turned it around and pulled it back in that time. But there was a couple times I took it around the block just like that with no fenders on it, no nothing like that. And you know, I tried doing a burnout in it. It did burn out just fine, but I didn't record it. So a buddy of mine, Bryant, at the shop I worked at, the owner, he's like, well, if there's no video of it, it didn't happen. So here's the video of it. Ready? Going? And for those wondering, yes, at that time it only had a open diff in it, so it only spun the one wheel. But it still did a burnout, so I was pretty happy about that. At that point, we had a running, driving vehicle. Now all we had to do was get it to the point where we could take it to the DMV, have it inspected, and I can finish building the title for it in California. So that's what I did, and this is the day that I left. Well, this is the day that I loaded it up to take to the shop to finish up a couple little things before I went to the DMV, because the DMV was actually like a block and a half away from the shop compared to about 6 miles. So I figured I'd trailer it there first, but this was the date I did that. For anybody wondering, that hole that's in the hood, that one right there, was completely unnecessary. When I was looking to get the hood on there, I'm looking at the carburetor and the air cleaner. It turns out when you look across the fender right here, it looks like the air cleaner is a lot higher than the hood would be. Well, the front of the hood, or the middle of the hood, comes up quite a bit. And once I cut the hole already and put the hood on there, it would have cleared if I would have just left it alone, but I had the hole in there now. But anyways, on to the DMV. So at that point, the Firebird was registered and titled in my name, which was great. And I got plates that day for it. So the funny thing is, at the DMV, the young person that was doing the inspection couldn't have been more than 25 years old. She had no idea what to look at on a classic car like that. So I think they're used to, doing just a regular, newer car or looking for stuff. So I had to point out everything, like the VIN tag and the RPO tag, and that the lights all worked, everything. So it's kind of an interesting thing, but it was roadworthy and I could drive it now. So I don't know exactly how long I drove with the 2-barrel on there. It wasn't long because I didn't want to drive it with the 2-barrel anymore. So the next thing I bought was the intake for it. So I got the Edelbrock RPM or the Performer RPM intake for it, which was the recommended one for a Pontiac 400. And Had that, and then I put this, and this carburetor is what the first 4-barrel was I put on it. But again, it's a 750 double pumper, and it's a little too big, and you know, just like it's way too big for this 350. It was better on this, but I ended up trading it out, or not trading it, but changing it out for a 650 quick performance carburetor. And then both of those carburetors were off of customers' cars. So it's another thing, it's like, you know, they don't want their old parts, so we utilize them. So a lot of my parts on this build were from customers. So another thing I did during that time was I took the 323 stock rear end and I put 355s with a posi in it. So now I got the 2 tires spinning rather than just the one, and I don't have the peg leg anymore. At that point, the car was completely legal and drivable. So I started driving it. I probably drove it for, I think, about 2 years with the carburetor on there. And that was that Quick Fuel Technologies 650, I think it was, maybe a 600. I don't remember exactly. But I drove it like that for a couple of years. Then the end of 2020 came around, into 2021, and we did a dyno day. I can't remember the exact date, but we did a dyno day, and this is what happened there. It was kind of hard to hear in that video, but the car actually cut out around 4,500 RPMs and leaned out real bad. So the guy running the dyno, he didn't push any further than that. And you saw the dyno numbers, they weren't that great, but they weren't horrible, but not what they should be as for a Pontiac 400. So what was happening is the vacuum secondaries on the QTP, sorry, I got bit by something in my ear last night, it's all swollen up. But anyways, because these vacuum secondaries on that carburetor were not kicking in. So it was leaning out real bad. So the dyno operator was shutting it down early. But I mean, it made 2-something horsepower and 3-something torque. Not too bad. You saw the numbers there if you want to rewind and look again. I don't remember off the hand what they were. But that basically told me right there, it's either I adjust the vacuum secondaries or I do something to the extreme. And I put a sniper on it instead. So it was time for the next round of upgrades. And this was this was the end of 2020. So 2021, I basically started tearing it apart and I tore the entire front end off again. So at that point, I was doing a sniper system. So, you know, I figured, what the heck? Let me just tear the whole front end of the car off again. So I tore the front end off, painted the firewall real nice, sanded it down, primered it, sanded it. I said sanded already. Painted it real nice. I took the subframe down and had it powder coated. The core support's powder coated. This piece here is powder coated. That's powder coated. Brackets, everything underneath there are all powder coated. Repainted all the suspension. Repainted the inner fenders. And then I installed the sniper system. But during that time, I also installed a American Auto Wire complete wire harness for it, which included the 21 circuit fuse block down here. See it up in there. And Dick is being really loud right there. And same time, I installed the new vintage USA gauges as well. So that's where that all came from. There's a sniper handheld. And at the same time, one of our customers was nice enough to give me his takeouts. These Scat Pro Car 2 seats and his rear seat to match, because he got new custom seats made. So that was pretty much it. That was 2021, and I drove it for about a year like that with a sniper on it. And then we decided to move to Oklahoma. And at that point, that's where we got into more modifications or more repairs, I guess you could say. As of right now, we've lived in Oklahoma for 3 years now. We moved here in June of 2022, and it's now July of 2025, almost August. And in the 3 years that we've been here, I've gone through a lot of things, and this is something you can look at. You can go watch the entire build, pretty much everything I've done on this car since I moved here to Oklahoma. Just look at my playlist for the history of the '69 Firebird. But just a real quick recap of what I've done here. So first and foremost, I repaired the corner panels. Got new corner panels from AMD. And at the same time I did those, I did the Detroit Speed mini tub. So I did both quarter panels. I repaired rust on the roof, rust on the doors, rust on the rockers. Just repaired those. I didn't replace them, but I also repaired the rust that was at the bottom of the quarter or the fenders down here. So I just went through and did a bunch of rust repair. And during the time that I was doing the quarter panels and the mini tubs, that's the time I installed the RideTech 4-link as well. It's kind of hard to see underneath there, but so we got a RideTech 4-link underneath there as well. So that's pretty much the main things I've done since I moved to Oklahoma. Was the body work, all the rust repair, and the 4-link. I think that's pretty much the majority of it. And I happened to get lucky one day that somebody was on the Firebird forum selling this 400 hood. And it was in Springfield, Missouri, which is about, I think it's a 6-hour drive from here. But for the price, it was worth the drive. So I took a trip out there, grabbed that, and now it has a 400 hood to go with the 400 under the hood. Under the hood, yeah. So yeah, that's where we're at with the Firebird. And there's more to come because eventually I am going to do body work on it, smoothing it out. Oh, interior. I did the interior work on it too. So they're not on here. I got new door panels. I modified and fit the seats back here. I did the redid the door panels on the quarter panels, inner panels. I did those. Those are all good to go. They're just not in the car right now because I want to do power windows in this. And I have since think I've changed my mind. So I think the next thing I'm going to do through this is actually put the door panels on. I just need to get some seals first. So I'm going to go ahead and just put the handles back on and keep it manual because what do I really need power windows for in this thing? So yeah, that's where we're at. And I also want to do some kind of AC system or heating and AC system. Because I blocked that firewall off when I was putting everything together back in San Diego. When I did the firewall and when I did the cow panel and the dash, I sealed that. Because I was planning on running a vintage air, but those things are like $2,500 now. So I think I've got a solution for that. And you'll be the first to know if it works out because I'm going to try it out on the truck first. So if that works out, then I'll probably do the same thing with it for this one. But that's pretty much the gist of the Firebird and where it's at now. So just real quick recap. From the front to the back, we have the Pontiac 400, which is a Facebook find. Got the suspension, which is Global West and Hotchkiss stuff. Got from a friend customer from the old shop. The wheels, again, I don't think I've mentioned those. Those were from a friend of the shop too. And I did that for a fuel pump install on a 3rd gen Camaro. I got the Barrett brakes. Got the Tremec 5-speed, the Tremec TKO 5-speed. Got the Scat Pro Car 2s. Got the RideTech suspension. Look at the Posi with the 355s in there now. And yeah, that's pretty much the majority of the stuff that I've done to this. So the NVU gauges, all new AEW wiring, American Auto wiring, and the seats, of course. But that's pretty much it, and all the rust repair I've done on it. So, oh yeah, the Champion radiator too. Why did I go Champion? Because it's lifetime warranty. And it works. It's a 3-core radiator and it works. But anyways, enough of that. So that's it. 400 suspension, rear end, interior, 400 hood. That's the gist of my Firebird and just it quick in a nutshell what it's all about. So there you go. There's my 69 Firebird. Do you good there, Elvis, for basically what's done to the Firebird, where it's been, how it got to where it is now. There's still a lot to go. But it is a driving car, and I have fun with it. I just need tires right now, which I'm probably going to get this month. But anyways, that's going to do it for this video. If you like it, do the normal. Like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends, and share while you're at it. Why not? So appreciate you all being here till the end. So until next time, I will see you all later.